I need to provide some backstory before I begin. These events started when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, 2002 to 2003-ish, and ended during the fall of 2015. I'm a 21-year-old female living in Canada, RCMP. When I was in elementary school, I was friends with a girl named Jessica. We had a group of 5 or 6 girls that we always played with. Jessica's parents were divorced, and I often went over to her dad's house after school because they had a trampoline and a slide. Her dad was a totally normal dude. His name was Richard, and he held a job as a pilot, which is definitely a job that requires mental stability. Jessica came over to my house as well, and her dad always came and picked her up after the play date, so he was familiar with where I lived. In, I think it was 2nd or 3rd grade, Jessica moved away to live with her mum. I didn't fully understand what was going on as a child, and I still don't know what happened, but something had gone wrong with her father. We didn't hear much from Jessica, but around her birthday the following year, Richard invited our group of girls over for a surprise birthday party. We arrived at the party and we were waiting for Jessica so that we could surprise her, but Jessica never showed up. We were just hanging out with her dad for a while. As a child, this didn't seem as weird as it does to me now. When our parents picked us up, we obviously told them what happened, and we didn't hang out with Jessica or Richard ever again. After that, some of the girls started receiving presents from Richard at their homes. I never received them, but my mother told me about them years later. The presents usually consisted of cheap jewelry and notes. I have no idea what the notes said, but I'm not sure that I want to either. After this, Richard goes away. My mum later told me that he was in a mental institution. Anyway, years go by. I completely forget about the whole situation. Then, in the winter of 2013, I was out of town for a cheer competition. I was scrolling through Facebook one night when, all of a sudden, a new group chat popped up with 5 girls from my elementary school. I had not kept in touch with any of them, so this was kind of weird. The chat was about how they'd received messages from Richard on Facebook. I checked the other folder of my Facebook messages, and sure enough, I had some too. I had a variety of messages that didn't make a lot of sense, including some strange poems. Many of the messages were descriptions of dreams that he had about me. Though some of them were nonsense, others were understandable enough to come across as sexually violently threatening. I don't feel comfortable sharing some of the more explicit messages, but here are a couple of the shorter and less scary ones. Hi, little girl from not long ago. Pristine of pristineness. I want you, I want you, I want you. We're gonna have planets to go to someday, provided you don't melt them first. I'm so proud of you. Stay happy, and I haven't found a way to keep you out of my mind yet. I can't see the planets till I make you all mine. You're just so rough and just so fine. As if I'm there, my love's for you I share. It's so indefinite, for it's all about you that I only care. I clicked on Richard's Facebook profile, and his whole profile was dedicated to us 5 girls. He didn't have any friends at it, so clearly nobody had seen it. Unfortunately, we didn't have very good security settings on Facebook at the time. He had saved dozens of photos of us, and then reposted them with nonsensical and inappropriate captions. The captions ranged from essays about his love for us, to a one-sentence caption that simply said, "She is so ugly." These are some of the shorter photo captions. Emily, hopefully, and not too soon. I'm gonna find out your address, and I'm gonna show up as a man that knocks on your front doorstep and bite your bottom lip off before you can say a word. Sierra, because my initial euphoria turns into sunken depression when I realize that there's nothing I can do about anything beside you, because you're inside me and I can't get you out of my mind. I love you so much. Melissa, can I paint your picture? And I want to lift you around to see how heavy you are. And we'll go for a drive on Hollywood Drive with the windows rolled down so we can get a crystal clear view. Fucking give it up. Like, as if I'm going to pretend I like it. Besides, you're just yanking on my strings because time after time it's always the same common denominator, which I noticed. How come you all pluck your eyebrows? But I do pretend I have favorite things, but in reality, I don't need them. And I am a good liar because I have a criminal mind like yours. We were all freshly 18 at the time and didn't know what the hell to do, so our mums contacted the RCMP. They told us not to block Richard on Facebook, but not to reply, as the messages could be used as evidence. He continued to send these bizarre messages every single day, and we shared the screenshots with each other in the group chat and then sent them off to the RCMP. He had several different Facebook accounts that were all variations of his name, along with one randomly named Esteban. One of the girls got in touch with Jessica to find out if she still had contact with her father. She only saw him on supervised visits every once in a while. She was so embarrassed and apologized a lot. She was a super sweet girl, and obviously none of us were upset at her in any way. Eventually, Richard was charged with 5 counts of criminal harassment. He pled guilty and went to jail for around 5 months. When he got out, there was still a no contact order in place, meaning that he couldn't contact any of us girls or come within a certain radius of our homes. He wasn't allowed to use the internet either. I'm not sure how all of this works, but this is what the constable handling the case told me. However, not surprisingly, he started contacting us on Facebook again, and he went back to jail for breaching his probation. It was the summer of 2015, and he had gotten out again. I started receiving more messages. I immediately wrote on the group chat to see if the other girls had gotten anything too, and they hadn't. It was just me. I immediately contacted the police, and it seems that they had forgotten to include my name on the no contact order. He knew not to contact the other girls, but thought it was still safe for him to contact me, and this time, things got worse. I had just started working in a new job, and being the idiot that I am, I had my workplace public on my Facebook profile. One day I came into work and there was a package waiting for me. I was obviously confused because I would never order something to be delivered to my work. I opened it up with my managers and there was weed inside, along with a disc with encryption software on it. He had mailed me weed to my work. I knew immediately that this was him, and awkwardly explained the situation to my managers, who thought that it was all hilarious. The security in my office tower was alerted and given a photo of him. They began walking me to my bus stop after my shifts. It was really scary knowing that he knew where I worked. At this point, I hadn't seen Richard in years, but it was clear that he was mentally unwell. I had absolutely no idea what he was capable of, or what his motives were. The RCMP did not seem to take this case very seriously, and they moved really slowly, passing the case around to various officers. Meanwhile, I was terrified. I could hardly walk down my street at night without freaking out. Every time somebody knocked on my door while I was home alone, I would drop whatever I was doing and hide under the kitchen counters. I had not moved since I was a child, so it was very possible that he remembered where I lived. The packages kept coming too. I received more weed in several different forms, including cookies, what appeared to be cocaine, and a key to his apartment, along with some miscellaneous items. I opened all of the packages at the police station. One of the packages included a USB stick with a bunch of audio recordings on them, but I decided it was better for me not to listen to them. The return address on the packages was to a random PO box in another city that didn't belong to Richard. And the really creepy thing was that no fingerprints were ever found on the packages. During all of this, the Facebook messages remained constant. Luckily, in one of the messages, he informed me that he had sent me drugs and the key along with his home address. This confirmed that the packages were from him, and he was charged again. I received a subpoena in the mail to appear as a witness in court. However, he once again pled guilty and I never got to go to court. I was actually a bit disappointed, as I thought seeing him in person would provide me with some sort of closure or something. He is still locked up somewhere as I'm writing this, but I still get scared walking at night, or even when somebody knocks on the door. The police provided me with zero information on where he was being held or when he would be released. And I feel like I'm just waiting for the day that he'll contact me again. It seems as if every time I think it's over, it isn't. If I do hear from him again, I'll be sure to post an update. I had a thing for urbexing. Hell, I still do, but I'm just more careful now. This happened over my spring break of 2016, sophomore year in high school. I live in Minnesota. I moved when I was in the 3rd grade from a town about 45 minutes south of Milwaukee. Over spring, I went to go visit my friend Lance, who lived in my hometown, who I hadn't seen since winter break in 6th grade. But we followed each other on Instagram and had a Snapchat streak, so we kinda kept in touch. I was pretty psyched to see Lance, as it had been a long time. So, on the first night of being at Lance's place, we went to Taco Bell and we were talking about crazy shit we'd done. And that's when Lance told me how one time he went exploring in this construction site and the cops came and they had to hide for almost an hour until they left. This was exactly the kind of shit I was into and wanted to do over the spring break. Lance then told me about this one abandoned house by his friend Riley's house, who lived nearby the state line. He had wanted to go there for a while now, but never had the chance, and he asked me if I was down for going there the next day. And hell yeah, I was down for going. I hadn't been urbexing in months, and I really wanted to get back into it. The next day, we picked up Lance's friend Riley around 11 and went to the abandoned house. It was in a secluded area. Riley said he had been there once, and the same door was unlocked that he had entered in the last time. When we got inside, it seemed a little messy, but also kind of empty, if that makes any sense. It looked like a house that the construction workers never finished. There were tools lying around, and there was a fridge with expired food in it, as well as a microwave. We went upstairs first, and there wasn't much up there. 3 or 4 empty rooms, except for one which had like half a loaf of fucking bread scattered around the room. Assuming maybe a squatter had been there, we then checked the attic, which was completely empty, and then made our way into the basement. And this is when shit starts to get strange. The basement was fucking huge, probably double the size of the upstairs floor. The first thing we saw was some graffiti on the walls. One of the walls had "Saddam was here" written on it. What the fuck? I had to snap a pic of it. As a side note, I like to take pictures of the things I find while urbexing. Next, we scanned the rooms around the basement. They were all empty except for a few tools and planks of wood. After that, Lance then noticed some sort of crawl space. We went into it like everything else in that house. It was empty, but there was one more door. And what was behind that door was nothing that we had expected at all. We opened the door only to find normal stuff you'd find in a basement. Like, what the fuck? Why was there normal basement stuff in an empty abandoned house? Well, we thought it was normal stuff. The 3 of us got a little curious and decided to look around. There was a TV that looked like it was from the late 90s, a fridge with some popsicles and what I thought was pork that looked really dusty, like it had been there for a long time. There was an old bed frame and a bunch of boxes, the first one of which had some arts and crafts that looked like a 7-year-old made. When we pulled down the second box, we found some sort of skull. A fucking skull. That's when the creepiness meter went up to 11. We then decided to get the fuck out of there. We ran upstairs, but that's when we noticed something that was different than before we went into the basement. There was a fucking satanic star made of some sort of yellow liquid on the floor that we were sure was not there before. We had only been in the basement for maybe 20 minutes. And that's when we realized someone else was in that house with us. We decided to get the fuck out of that house. As soon as we got outside, we made a mistake. By then, we had calmed down and thought that we had just missed the star and were overthinking it. About 50 yards from the house, there was a lake and a dock. At the dock, there was a paddle boat. Our dumbasses got curious again and decided to go inside the boat and take it for a spin. After about 5 minutes into the boat ride, we realized that the current was much too strong, so we decided to go back to the dock and go to Lance's car. The paddle boat we were in had 4 seats, 2 on the front where the paddles were. That's where Lance and I were sitting, and Riley was in the back seat. He was mostly looking out towards the shore, which, in retrospect, really saved our asses, because Lance and I were focusing on paddling and steering us back to the shore. As we were getting close to shore, Ryan flipped his shit. We had just gotten view of the house and we noticed someone peering out of the sliding glass door. Someone was definitely in the house with us. He then slid the door open and started running towards us. Well, fuck the current. We spun that boat around and booked it across the lake as fast as we could into the current. Riley was looking back as we were paddling away, and the man was almost at the dock. Riley was freaking out at this point. Hell, we all were. We saw a second dock in the distance, but the current was getting way too strong, so we decided to pull off on the side and just sprint towards the car. The grass where we pulled off was muddy as fuck. Normally, I'm the type of person who really hates getting their shoes dirty, but at this point, I didn't care and just wanted to get the fuck out of there. As we got out of the mud, we were in view of the house again, and the man was nowhere to be seen. We got into Lance's car and hightailed it out of there. We drove all the way back to Lance's house in silence. When we got back, we ordered a pizza and told Lance's brother Mike everything, and just calmed down and spent the rest of the day watching movies and playing Super Smash Bros. Melee. Fast forward to 4 days ago. I was studying for a huge chemistry test with some friends that night at a Starbucks back home in Minnesota. While we were studying, I get a call from Riley. "Hey Riley, what's up?"
"Hey Owen. Hey, you know that house that we went exploring in maybe a year ago?"
"Hell yeah, dude. How could I forget that?"
"Dude, that place is fucked up."
"No shit. There was a squatter hiding with a fucking satanic star in that house."
"Nah man, it gets way worse. I went back to the house tonight with my friend, and..."
"And what?"
"Dude, there was some sort of cult there."
"What?" Riley went on to tell me that there was a group of people behind the house with a star and candles, as well as a fucking swastika spray painted on the house. Riley and his friend escaped unnoticed, but what the fuck would have happened if they would have noticed him? Honestly, it gives me chills knowing that something crazy could have happened to him, or that something crazy could have happened to us that day.